What's up? It's One Cowboys Way back again. Coulter and Matt here.
Yes, sir.
We are doing alcohol on the evening before Thanksgiving, so here's to that.
Cheers.
Anyway, we've also got our special friend Tank back here.
Hi, Tank. Tank, come say hi to the YouTube.
Hi,
YouTube.
Yeah, so Tank's gonna be hanging out with us. Yeah, so this is our fourth YouTube live episode. I think we've got a combined like 5 views. Which
Yeah.
I think 4 of them at least are me.
Probably.
So there's that. We're gonna get rolling on episode 20 here. So as always, just getting this started a little bit before we actually start recording. So
You ready?
yes.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
One Cowboys Way episode 20. We're here again. It's feeling a lot better than it did 10 days ago.
Yes, it is.
Or 12 days ago, or whenever.
Yeah.
Things have changed significantly in the landscape since episode 18. So we're going to get into a few things today. There's a little bit of housekeeping to take care of. And then we're going to get into, our usual recap of the of the previous game, which in this case is
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Yes, I don't know why I was thinking about Philadelphia, probably because they're in such a disaster right now.
Tailspin.
Yes, major tailspin. And then we'll also talk about our LVPs and MVPs from the previous game against Atlanta there. And we will talk then about Washington and what we think is going to happen in terms of that with our annual Thanksgiving game, which is taking place tomorrow. So, Matt, you want to get us rolling?
Yeah, let's get it started. And I think we're gonna start a little bit on a somber note. It came out after the game that Michael Gallup's brother committed suicide, and Michael Gallup learned of this after the win. Kind of put a somber mood on the win, and we just send our thoughts out to Michael Gallup and his whole family for just a tragic situation. And
Yeah, definitely. It's I've thought a lot about Michael Gallup this week and the whole idea of mental health and how important that is. So
true story.
The idea of your brother playing a game in his home state, and your mental state is just so poor that that you make that decision, and obviously that's a very sad and terrible thing for Michael Gallup to have to go through and his family. So hopefully he has a big game tomorrow, not just selfishly speaking, but also because it would just be a wonderful thing for him to have happen after experiencing such a terrible tragedy. So
no doubt.
Michael Gallup.
Yes, we're gonna do an honorary salute to you, sir.
Yeah. So
we've seen guys go out and have big games after personal tragedies. It's not like it's out of the realm of possibilities. But he is obviously a young player. He's still learning the offense. But he has kind of come on like we were kind of hoping he would. Kind of cementing his role as that number 2 wide receiver. Now, obviously, we didn't expect him to, or Amari Cooper to be on this roster at the beginning of the year. But Michael Gallup seems to be a lot more comfortable in just that number 2 role.
Yeah, he's been grown a little bit over the last, I think over the last month, especially. He's had a few drops here and there, but that doesn't make him any different from anybody else on the team. And he's a rookie, so he's got that excuse. He's kind of emerged as a little bit of a deep threat lately too, so it's kind of interesting to watch that happen, and hopefully he'll continue to emerge, and this game can kind of help, for lack of a better term, exercise some demons, maybe, be cathartic in some way. So anyway, Matt.
Yes.
Jerry Jones said this week he would not trade Dak Prescott for 2 first-round picks. How do you feel about that?
I think there is maybe 5 players in the NFL that you wouldn't trade 2 first-round draft picks for, and Dak Prescott is certainly not in that top 5. Dak is Dak. I don't know. Like we say a lot on this podcast, Dak is Dak. He has got the intangibles that some people dream of having. Just things that you can't coach. but Dak is I would say, limited as a quarterback in certain areas. And I would gladly take one first, if not two first, for Dak Prescott. I might even take a second for Dak Prescott.
Ooh. Um.
That's my pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't take a second. It, I mean, he's a starting quarterback, and he's one with a track record of success. And
he's cheap, so maybe
right
not.
now, right now he's cheap. Right now he's cheap.
That's true.
In a couple years, he's almost certainly not cheap. So, speaking of the idea of cheap, one of the Cowboys kind of blogger that I follow on our Twitter, he was talking about yesterday that he doesn't think that neither Dak nor Ezekiel Elliott are worth paying.
Really?
Which I thought was interesting because, and his argument was, or is, and I like him because, if you ask him a question, it's Dalton Miller, by the way, at Cowboys DBM. He'll get back at you. And his kind of argument was, Dak Prescott's going to command $20+ million, which is what you've been saying. And I've been on Zeke a little bit in terms of how I feel about him and his commitment and the kind of shape that he stays in. So he was basically saying that running production is easy to replace. I mean, you can go and look around the league and point at most starting running backs and say, not a first round pick, not making a lot of money. You look at Kareem Hunt, Alvin Kamara. Those are just two guys right off the top of the dome. Tariq Cohen, Jordan Howard, also on the Bears. I mean, those are all guys that were drafted in the third, fourth, fifth rounds that have come in and had immediate impacts. And I would argue even as much of an impact as Ezekiel Elliott has had. And one other thing that I was thinking about after I read that is the Steelers. You think about Le'Veon Bell. They chose not to pay Le'Veon Bell, and they plug in James Conner, was a third-round pick. And he statistically is has been exactly the same.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to the running game now, you are more looking at scheming and things like that.
Sure.
And as far as Dak goes, I don't think that he is limited as a quarterback. I think that he is limited by Jason Garrett and Scott Linehan to a point.
Sure.
Is Dak Prescott ever going to be Aaron Rodgers? Is he ever going to be Russell Wilson? Probably not. But he, I think, is going to be one of those guys that could be a solid 8 to 12 overall in terms of starting quarterbacks in the league if you put him in a position to succeed and use his skills the way that they need to be used. And right now our coaching staff just cannot or will not do that. So I've said it many, many times before, I would like to see him in a position where he's able to showcase what he can do a little bit rather than kind of being held back by this elementary school offense that we run. So
yeah, that's fairly true. And I mean, there is a certain aspect of when Scott Linehan came in, this was supposed to be Tony Romo's offense, and it seems like we don't want to change the offense to fit Dak Prescott.
Well, and that would be my question: is why not?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a good point.
You come in and you have to be adaptable. To quote Billy Beane in Moneyball, adapt or die.
Yeah.
And right now, what we've seen is die. And I think this team in the last 2 games, we've seen them open up the playbook a little bit more. And I know we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here, but it's going to transition us relatively decently into the Atlanta game. Is this idea that we have opened up the playbook a little more, and we have seen some more creative play calling and even scheming and play design. But my issue with it lies in the fact that we're still too predictable. Even over the last 2 games, we still are not having the success that we should be capable of having with, a quarterback who could easily run for 50 to 75 yards a game. Our offensive line's been better. I don't know. We've talked ad nauseum about this, but
it's in a league that is posting record numbers for scoring.
The Chiefs and Rams the other night.
Exactly.
Even my grandma talked to me about that game today, and she does not like football.
Right. The league has posted record numbers in scoring, passer yards for quarterbacks, quarterback rating. Like every offensive statistical category has been just blown out the friggin' doors all year, and Dallas is lagging behind in that.
Yes.
So I agree with you. I don't love Dak Prescott as far as just his tools as a quarterback, but I would like to see if a different coach with a better offensive mind and more unique play calling ability could
Somebody
get
who can
more
set him up
right, get
to
more out of
maximize
Dak
his
Prescott.
ability.
Then I would like to make a better evaluation about Dak Prescott.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think Dak's ever going to be up in that elite. But
no,
I've said many times on here that you got maybe 3 to 5 quarterbacks at in any given year in the league that are elite quarterbacks,
exactly.
and most of them stay with the same team their entire career. And some teams have never ever had an elite quarterback, and we just need to accept the fact that not every quarterback we have is going to be Tony Romo.
Yeah.
Not every quarterback we have is going to be Troy Aikman.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Right.
And the sooner that Cowboys fans accept that, the sooner, the sooner we're all going to be able to move on with our lives.
Yep.
So.
And I think my argument is that, and it's okay if Dak is not Troy Aikman, but do you want to pay him like Troy Aikman is the problem. Because that's the going rate for quarterbacks anymore. That's the thing that worries me.
I understand.
Mortgaging the rest of your roster to pay a quarterback who may or may not be the answer.
Yeah.
So,
but we've also seen what this league is like when you don't have a quarterback.
Right.
When Romo was injured a couple years ago, we saw exactly what happens and how hard it is to find a competent quarterback.
Yep.
I mean, having to watch Kellen Moore and Brandon Weeden
that was painful.
Matt Castle was just awful.
Pain.
I mean, and I don't know how Cowboys fans don't remember that and watch Dak Prescott and go, "Wow, this is a hell of a lot better than that."
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
whatever.
So I guess next little housekeeping thing, just kind of we'll probably bring up Dak a little bit more a little later, but anyway, Derry also said he would not sell the team less than $10 billion. Your thoughts?
Well, the last team to sell sold for almost $3 billion, and that was the Carolina Panthers, who are not one of the more valuable franchises. Just earlier this year,
mm-hmm.
Forbes valued the Cowboys at $5 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Jones himself is worth $6 billion, $5 billion of that being tied up into the Cowboys.
Right.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I totally understand. It makes sense to me, and he also said, why did I say $10 billion? Because I believe that's the offer I could get or would get,
mm-hmm.
which means there's 50, 100 people in the world that can maybe buy the Cowboys.
Exactly.
Maybe. It's frustrating, and like we were talking, or a couple weeks ago, we were talking about this idea of even when he does die, it doesn't matter because the Joneses aren't going to get rid of the Cowboys, and he pretty much affirmed that within that same breath as, even long after I'm gone, the Cowboys will be part of my family.
Right.
So
now I'm a little bit more okay with that with Stephen Jones than Jerry, but
we'll see.
It's interesting, and I think he's justified, honestly, because I legitimately think the Dallas Cowboys would sell for $10 billion plus.
Yeah,
they're the most popular franchise in the world. I don't care. I don't fucking care about Manchester United or any of that shit. You want to talk about the premier organization in the world? It's the Dallas Cowboys.
Maybe.
As far as I'm concerned. So,
anyway, let's talk about Atlanta.
Jeff Swaim's out for the year.
Probably.
Well, probably, yeah. That.
I've had various people tell me surgery similar to his is a 4 to 6 week recovery.
Sure.
So
sucks.
We've got 6 games left?
Mm-hmm.
7 games left? Yeah, if we get him back, it's not going to be till the very end of the season, and if we make the playoffs. So, as if our tight end situation wasn't bad enough.
Right. Shout out to Jeff Swaim for putting up an admirable effort all season, and I feel like we have warmed up to Jeff Swaim from the beginning of this year.
Sure.
So kudos.
Hopefully this means Rico gathers
shots. I don't see how it doesn't. Honestly,
they found a way to not get him any shots despite being active almost all year. So he's been almost entirely a blocking tight end, which he's done very well at from everything that I've watched.
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz has had way more boners than Rico Gathers has.
True.
But so
let's get into the offense.
Let's do it. Go for it.
Against Atlanta, offense was okay.
Sure.
Yeah. What did we score? 23 points total. What was it? Yeah, it was 23-20, wasn't it?
Yes.
In the end. Um, they showed. I feel like the offense is showing some signs of life. They're running the ball better, but again, we had missed opportunities when we had the chance. Probably most notably,
22-19, by the way.
oh, 22-19, sorry. Most notably, the Cole Beasley gaff in the end zone. That's absolutely inexcusable. Um, and you know, again, it was. Some people question the play calling at the end of the game. Again, I feel like that was drastically different from Washington. For me personally, um, I
When Tyron Smith got hurt, they were going for the field goal, and I don't blame them.
yeah,
That was the right call.
sure. It, I guess it was just okay. I mean, 23 points is not that great in the NFL.
323 total yards, 5 yards per play, 191 passing yards. Obviously, you lose some sacks because Dak did have like 206. I think his final total
Sure.
was. Zeke had a good game. We only had 2 penalties called against us. They only had 2 penalties called against them, which is a hell of a lot better than 0.
Right.
Yeah, just 7 for 13 for us on third down, but 6 for 12 for them. It's just, we just barely did enough to win. And statistically, the Falcons outplayed us.
Yep.
So it was mostly in the fourth quarter. But I mean, our defense until the fourth quarter held a top 10 offense in the league, top 5 offense arguably in the league. Statistically, they're the 6th highest scoring team in the league.
Yep.
They held them to 19 points.
And weren't they converting like 88% of the time in the red zone at home?
and they got one against us. So I think
1 touchdown. They weren't even in the red zone.
Right. Our defense, no, but they had 1 score from the red zone.
Right.
Just fantastic. Our defense definitely stood that first test. We're really going to find out here, not tomorrow, but next Thursday.
The Saints.
Yeah, that's gonna tank.
That's a real real yardstick for the Cowboys. There is going to be the Saints. What did you think of Dak's performance as a whole?
It was fine. There wasn't anything in particular that stood out to me or that was bad. He led us on another game-winning drive. I'll give him that. He's 12 and 9 with game-winning drive opportunities. That's a bad one.
Tank's ripping.
Yeah. No, I think he did enough to get us the win, and can't ask for much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So
he did have a couple great throws on the game-winning drive.
He did, and that throw to Beasley in the end zone at the beginning of the game was perfect.
Right, you can't ask it.
The last 2 weeks, he's been very clutch in the fourth quarter. Very clutch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, dude, that's a fresh one now.
Yep.
Dak's just Dak. He just does barely enough. So
you just gotta take it all in. Man.
Oh no,
just let it go.
I can even smell it through my shirt, man. This is even on another level for him. Like I can almost taste it.
Ugh.
It's on that. It smells like he pooped in here. Anyway, talking about the real stuff here on One Cowboys Way. Yeah. I don't know what else do you say about Dak.
I don't think there's a lot else to say about Dak. Dak had his typical Dak game.
He didn't turn the ball over.
No.
I'm still frustrated by the lack of possible running plays for him.
Yeah.
I'm also frustrated by his inability, seemingly, to move up in the pocket as opposed to when he feels pressure running out the back.
Yeah, there was one sack in particular we talked about where we were like, man, he had the opportunity to step up in the pocket, and yet he tried to bail out the back and ran right into pressure.
If he can ever do that, it's going to improve Dak Prescott vastly.
Yes.
On a whole nother level. That will move his game, in my opinion, to just a whole new status.
Yeah. If he learns how to climb the pocket, that would be great for him.
Yeah. He even seems sometimes like he stops his drops short. Like he's not fully committing all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what it is. He just doesn't quite seem comfortable back there. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, it is from that Atlanta game last year.
Yeah.
He has simply never recovered from that mentally. His internal clock is off.
Yeah.
And I think he panics, and he doesn't. He just. I don't know what else to say. he played a fine game, didn't turn the ball over. He's
Hmm.
been great the last 2 weeks, in my opinion.
Sure. Now, Ezekiel Elliott, on the other hand, had another standout performance
He
this
did.
week. 201 yards of total offense for him, like 120 some on the ground and another 80 in the air. Something we haven't typically seen from Ezekiel Elliott is he is getting the ball in like the passing game, or at least last week.
Well, I mean, he gets those screens on 3rd and long a lot,
Sure, yeah,
but they don't
well,
usually go for much. But last week they did.
Sure.
The Falcons don't have a good defense, though. That's something
No.
we need to keep in mind.
No.
Washington this week has a much better defense than Atlanta does, and they showed
Absolutely
it
agree.
when we played them not long ago. So we'll
Absolutely
see.
agree.
We'll have to see if we can, kind of step up and rise to that occasion. But the line needs to play a hell of a lot better than they did last time we played Washington. So
Sure.
we'll see what happens. But Zeke stepping up has been nice
Mhm.
after he had a few weeks off there. Like I said, I feel like he's there sometimes. He's either really really there
Mhm.
and killing it, or he's 50, 60 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. Zeke has kind of almost he has that air about him that he's kind of like, I'm gonna show up when I want to show up, and if that's not convenient for you, sorry, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, he's so talented that obviously when he decides he wants to show up, he's pretty much gonna dominate a game.
yeah. I don't even know if I would say that necessarily, but he seems like if he's almost like a receiver. Like if he doesn't get his catches and get rolling early on, like if he can't feed Zeke at least one time on the first couple drives, then he's just kind of
Yeah.
it's not happening for me. I don't know. Maybe that's just a personal thing that I've observed, but uh, whatever.
So I guess the next thing is the wide receivers. They didn't really do a lot in that game. Some of it was self inflicted. We've discussed the fact that Cole Beasley dropped that touchdown. I think it's safe to say that the wide receivers do need to get more involved, especially when you're trading a first round pick for Amari Cooper.
Well, yeah. I think though that when Ezekiel Elliott is doing what he was doing last week, I'm fine with the receivers not being involved because just sheerly from the fact that very clearly Zeke is rolling, and if you can have Zeke roll, then that's fantastic. Now, one interesting statistic I did read about Zeke today is he has the most fumbles for a running back in the league over the last 2 years, 10. And I yell almost every single week at him, protect the ball, because he's always got it out here. He runs with it all loosey goosey, and then I'm always yelling at him. You got to switch arms.
Yep.
You got to have it away from the defense because, like, if you cannot hold the ball in your left arm, in both arms. I mean, if like obviously if you're right hand dominant, if you can't hold it in your non-dominant hand and be secure with it, or you can't make that switch for whatever reason, then you don't belong as an NFL running back.
Sure.
You don't, they teach you that in little guy. I remember taking handoffs in little guy football and learning how to properly open my arms to receive a handoff and then where to move the ball depending on what was happening.
Sure.
If you're running to the right, the ball's in your right. If you're running to the left, the ball's in your left. Like it's not a difficult concept. And Zeke always keeps it in his right arm. It is always in his right arm.
Sure.
And that causes problems for him. But yes, the receivers do need to. It would be nice to see them involved, but when they don't need to be, I don't have an issue with it.
So I guess my question for you is, after seeing Cole Beasley drop, I guess not as an immediate reaction to Cole Beasley dropping that touchdown, but Cole Beasley's contract has been brought up a lot, especially by him on Twitter. Do you think that Cole Beasley is worthy of a second contract because his contract is coming up due this year?
He's 30, isn't he?
I don't know. Is he? I don't know.
I think he's about 30. Let's see. Let's find out real quick. This is good one take stuff.
Good radio.
Cole's only 5'8", 180. He's a small guy.
Yeah.
God, it's weird that he's so much smaller than me, or us even. So he turns 30 in April.
Okay.
So for me, no. I like Beasley. If you could do something like two years for $10 million, I'm probably comfortable with that. But anything beyond that, I'm not. Like if you could do something like you did with Alan Hearns,
sure,
I like that. But he's such a good route runner, and he's kind of Zeke's, or I'm sorry, Dak's safety blanket
Mm,
that you hate to see him go, but I feel like you can find one of those quick little slot receivers
yeah.
in the draft.
Yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate just because I feel like a lot of Cowboys fans, us included, kind of have a little soft spot for Cole Beasley because
Oh,
he's
I love Cole Beasley.
yeah
I just
he's kind
there
of
comes
just
a time.
yeah he's got that swagger about him and he's just such a great route runner and he's a fearless kind of wide receiver. But you're right. I think this at this point is a financial decision more than a talent decision. And Cole Beasley has already made it very apparent that he wants to make as much money as possible.
Don't blame him.
Exactly. And he should. But Dallas doesn't need to be breaking the bank to bring back a slot receiver.
I don't think they would. Jesus, Tank. Um, it is It'll be an interesting situation to see what happens. That's all I can really say there. Is you know, as I've said many times before, I do not envy the Joneses.
Yes.
That's not a decision I would want to make. So
Yes.
yeah, love Beasley, but you just it's that financial thing, and that money's got to go somewhere. And is Cole Beasley the best use of that money? So
Should we go on to the defense?
sure.
Okay.
Well, do you want to talk about the line?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. So the
I
line
would
was
love
better
to-
again.
I would love to talk about the possibility of the line being better this week.
Go for it.
Than
Take the reins.
well, Suafilo has been much better than Connor Williams for starters. But last time we played Washington, our line was trash.
Everybody,
Just-
not just Connor
well,
Williams. Everyone was
Yes,
trash.
yes, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
They need to play 10 times better than they did last time we played Washington, or they do not have a chance to win this game.
Yes.
If the offensive line doesn't step up and keep Deron Payne and the rest of the Washington defensive line and linebackers off of Dak Prescott, we are screwed.
Yes.
And they've got to be able to open those holes for Zeke because uh, both Dak and Zeke have shown when the line doesn't go, they don't go.
Right.
Like Zeke doesn't usually make his own room, and Dak doesn't have the pocket presence to be able to step up and take care of things. So, as the line goes, we're going to go.
So do you think that the improvement in the offensive line the last 2 weeks is just because we put in Xavier Suafilo? Do you think that one slight improvement in left guard really makes that much of a difference?
I think anytime I think guys overplay when they feel like there's a deficiency in their area. Tyron Smith has been so much better the last 2 weeks with Suafilo next to him.
True.
Maybe it's because he feels like he doesn't have to babysit. Because Suafilo's an experienced guy, whereas Williams, he's inexperienced and he's not very good.
Yeah.
And offensive line is one of those things where I feel like one guy can really make a difference, especially when you've already got, Joe Looney's been solid. Zach Martin is an all-pro, and then, Lyle Collins is Lyle Collins. But, yeah, I think it's a combination of Suafilo taking over. I think the, Hudson Houck and Mark Colombo. And then I think also the slightly better scheming and play calling has helped as well.
Sure.
That's just my thoughts on it.
I think the worst thing that happened to Connor Williams was Travis Frederick having Guillain-Barré.
Yes. Oh, 100%. If he's between two former All-Pros,
right.
it's completely different. But, Joe Looney can handle Joe Looney. But Travis Frederick can handle Travis Frederick and Connor Williams.
Right,
probably.
Exactly.
And I think Joe Looney's been admirable. I love Joe Looney, the player, and I hope he's with us for, a few years down the line at least. But he is not going to elevate the play of your line and be able to make the calls like Travis Frederick can. It's not going to happen.
Yep. Agreed.
And maybe next year, provided Frederick makes a full recovery, then we can see what Connor Williams does with the All-Pros on either side of him. But for now, I want to keep Suafilo in there for the foreseeable future.
I agree. I think Xavier Suafilo gives you the best chance to win now.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I think even if Connor Williams is healthy, he needs to take a seat and let someone who's got the experience and more size
He just gets
get in there.
get some protein powder in him.
No
Get a
doubt.
little lifting. Yeah, let's do the defense now.
All right, let's do it.
We're getting deep in here already.
Leighton Vander Esch again, man, just
Man.
showing out. Like, what the hell?
He's really making us look like assholes, especially me.
I was gonna say I was a little bit more on the Leighton Vander Esch train.
You were, but you were.
He has far surpassed even my expectations for what I thought he could.
I would say if there's a Leighton Vander Esch hype train, when he was drafted, you had like your foot on the ladder as the train was starting to move, and then as the season kind of came, you were maybe jogging alongside of it. Now me, I was watching him pull away with the middle finger in the air.
Sure,
but
that's fair.
Man, I have since built my own train and caught up and hooked up to this Leighton Vander Esch train because man, oh man, he finally started intercepting the ball. He's been
2 weeks in a row.
He's been making those Sean Lee plays. And when Sean Lee's healthy, if we cannot figure out a way to get all three of those linebackers in the game at the same time, Lee, Vander Esch, and Jalen Smith, then what a waste.
Yeah.
Because Damian Wilson's fine. He's not Anthony Hitchens, and he's sure as hell not Sean Lee.
No.
Dude. Yeah, it has been. He's been a revelation.
He has. Yeah, he's been holding this defense together.
Well, I mean, we saw what happened to the defense last year when Sean Lee wasn't playing with us against Atlanta. Yep. I mean, it was ugly.
Yeah.
So, and we've been a lot more solid on Sean Lee this year, which was the entire goal of drafting Leighton Vander Esch. And, hopefully he can continue to do this and be successful. And it's not just that, he's a rookie and nobody's really, figured his shit out yet. But it'll be good. I've been very happy to see. I'm more than happy to eat crow on Leighton Vander Esch. So
yeah, and the way I figure Leighton Vander Esch, I feel like for a guy like Vander Esch, he's only going to get better from here. Like, I guess you can say about rookie quarterbacks sometimes, like, defenses can get a year of film to figure them out. I don't necessarily feel like that's necessarily the same way for, like, a linebacker, I would say.
No, but once you realize that they're an issue, you can certainly scheme to try and take them out of the game in some way, shape, or form.
And that's fair. But I think that in the offseason, he can get more muscle on him. He can get stronger. And the sky's the limit, I feel like, for Leighton Vander Esch.
Well, yeah.
He's played out of his mind, and he is leading that defense, that linebacker core. I mean, Jalen Smith is the vocal leader, but Leighton Vander Esch has been the performance. Like, I'm going to let my performance do the talking here.
He's been good.
Yes. DeMarcus Lawrence had another great game.
It's time to pay him.
I think so. I think it is.
It's time to pay him. He's shown that last year was not a fluke.
Yep. And
which is what I was concerned about.
He's doing all this on bum shoulder.
Yeah.
With one arm, basically. If he actually has a torn labrum and he's just playing.
Well, and now
he's playing with one goddamn arm.
Now Randy Gregory's starting to step up too. I mean, it's time to pay DeMarcus Lawrence. It's time for him to get his. And good on him for being willing to play on the franchise tag and saying, yeah, hell yeah, I'll earn it.
Yeah.
Like, I understand for Le'Veon Bell, he's been tagged once and he's more than proved it. But, for DeMarcus Lawrence to go 3 years, have the one good year, and then now to follow it up and hopefully stay out of trouble for the rest of his career.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Pay him. Yeah, agreed. I think the thing that I've noticed with this defense, and the thing that's unbelievably frustrating with this defense, is that they are very good. They are a bend but don't break defense, but we just miss opportunities for turnovers all the time.
Especially our corners.
Yeah. There's two in this game in particular.
There were a lot of people who were very upset with Chidobe Awuzie. For that Julio Jones catch in the end zone in the fourth quarter. It's like there's not much more the guy could do. He had his hand in there. He was right there. It was a hell of a catch and a hell of a throw.
Sure.
And he's always just right there. He just cannot seem to make a play, and he's going to get his. One of these days, he's going to get his,
I hope so.
and it's going to come at a big clutch time. You mark my words. At some point when we really need it, Cheeto's going to get his head around, and he's going to pick that ball off.
Are you worried about Cheeto at all?
Not as much as I'm worried about Frito. No,
it's a chip joke. I get it.
Well, yeah, Cheeto.
Yeah.
Anyway, only slightly. He's only a second-year guy, and he was hurt for most of last year. Had the hamstring issues like the rest of the team did last year. I don't know. At this point, I would love to see Jordan Lewis get more of a shot again. I think that Cheeto is good. I think he's a good corner. He's there in coverage. He just has to learn to react a little sooner, maybe, because he's always right there. He's been the victim of some pretty incredible throws and catches this year.
Agreed. And Cheeto has mostly played against the best defensive or the best wide receiver that the team has to put out.
Well,
there.
yeah, because we don't rotate
right.
corners. We don't shadow guys. So, and you also got to think, because Byron Jones has been so shut down, where else are they going to go?
Yeah. I'm starting to worry a little bit about Cheeto.
Here's what I think. I think that the team hyped him up a little too much
maybe
during the offseason. Like, he's going to be our breakout shutdown corner. What indication did he give you for that last year, though? Like, I didn't see anything to indicate that Cheeto was going to be better than Jordan Lewis this year, even. Because Jordan Lewis, we've said many times, was our best corner last year. He outplayed everybody else on the field in terms of defensive backs. Even Jeff Heath to go. So
yeah,
I think everybody just got a little too overhyped on him.
The thing I guess the thing I'll say about Cheeto is that I think Cheeto will be a fine corner, and Cheeto, like you said, he has been right there so much. But I'm starting to see a lot of parallels to Orlando Scandrick, a young Orlando Scandrick. He's close, he's there, but he doesn't seem to have the ball skills necessary to make a play on the ball, just like an Orlando Scandrick would be. Yeah, sure, he'll get a couple pass breakups, but he'll rarely ever get an interception, and he's going to let a lot of balls just kind of slip by.
Who was the last corner we had that intercepted a lot of passes?
Mike Jenkins. For 1 year.
Oh man, I don't.
Outside of that,
in my memory, I don't remember anybody who would really go get it. Who was like, oh yeah, like that dude is gonna go get us an interception. Our defenses have been woeful in terms of causing turnovers for in my recent memory.
At least as far as interceptions from the secondary goes. I mean, even when we had Wade Phillips, who was a defensive guru.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know. Last year, we had only 13 interceptions. No, we didn't. There's no way. Did we intercept the ball 13 times last year?
Maybe.
No way. Anyway, I know you were kind of miffed with Jeff Heath.
Yeah, and like, you get so few opportunities to create turnovers in this league. And the very first of all, I guess I'll talk about what's his name? Malik Collins.
6 interceptions in 2016.
Yeah. So Malik Collins, very first play of the game, has one go right off his hands. Like, I know you're a defensive lineman, but God, that was like fucking gifted to you, and you drop it. And then Jeff Heath basically just runs under one, like a pop fly, more or less. Granted, Julio Jones laid a pretty good lick on him, but like, again, it's you aren't going to get a lot easier than that from an interception standpoint, and that just frustrates me as a fan, that the defense is good, but they lack the ability to make a game-changing type of play when they need it the most. Now, I say that, and then Leighton Vander Esch has an interception that leads to the go-ahead score.
We intercepted 10 passes last year. Sorry, not 13. I was looking at the wrong Wrong area. 6 the year before that.
Nice.
Let me see. 8 the year before that. 18 in 2014. That's the last time we had any decent amount of interceptions.
And that was our 12-4 year.
Yes, sir. Yep, 12-4 NFC East. That was the year of the
Of the catch, non-catch.
Non-catch. Bruce Carter led
5.
our team in interceptions. He had 5.
Yeah.
Guess who was second?
Jeff Heath.
J.J. Wilcox.
Awesome.
Barry Church third, tied for third with Rolando McClain.
Awesome.
And Orlando Scandrick. Hitchens had 1. Justin Durant had 1. Tyler Patman had 1.
Oh, God.
And Morse Claiborne had 1.
Oh, good.
Yep. But that was the last time we had an interception per game, so to speak.
Wow.
And it shows in our record.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have I mean, would you love to see Jeff Heath hang on to that interception? Yes. But he's not a wide receiver, and Julio Jones destroyed him. He, even a lot of wide receivers are not hanging on to that ball if they get hit like that in the same position. Like, it's just not.
A lot of wide receivers are getting a penalty called against them for a hit like that. Fun fact.
Probably true. It's one of those things, man. Like, it sucks, but I sure as hell wouldn't have held on to it, and I understand why he didn't.
Yeah.
So
we're not professional athletes, though.
No, neither's Jeff Heath, to be fair.
Nice.
On any of his team but ours. Should we talk now about whether or not it's time to make a change at kicker?
Sure.
Kickers have been bad this year. Not just for us, but for everyone.
I feel like at this point in the season, we have hitched our wagon to Brett Maher. Now, it's like you said, kicking has been suspect all year. Brett Maher has won us 2 games.
I think barring a complete collapse by him tomorrow, he is our kicker through at least New Orleans. Just because I don't see a way where you can really make a change there.
Sure.
Whereas possibly, in your 10, 11 day gap there,
sure,
then you can try some guys out and bring in somebody different. But if he continues to miss, if he misses a kick against Washington and he misses a kick against New Orleans, or more than one, God forbid, in either game, then you gotta be looking elsewhere.
Because he's missed a kick in his last 4 games now?
Well, he missed the first one, then he went 16 for 16, and he's been pretty shaky since then. So,
well, the Washington one, and then he missed one against Tennessee.
I still cannot believe that Washington kick didn't go through.
Yeah.
And it would have been good without the penalty, but whatever. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what he does over these next couple games. I don't want to waste too much time on Brett Maher, though.
Fair. I guess the interesting thing is that I feel like Dallas is kind of on this weird teeter-totter. We are right smack back in the middle of the division race with Washington losing and us winning the last 2.
And Philly's complete collapse.
Yes.
Now New York has also won their last couple games. So they're not out of it.
No.
Not by any means. They're only 2 games behind us and 3 out of the division lead with, which I know sounds like a lot, but Eli Manning has done some weird stuff in his career. Let's be real.
And this division is just, nobody wants to win this division.
Well, Alex Smith, the poor guy, has that terrible which, by the way, for Alex Smith,
that's
poor guy. Even for a division rival, I don't like to see that happen. Maybe to Brandon Jacobs when he was playing, but
sure.
I'm just kidding. Even then, it's a terrible thing to see. But Colt McCoy has torn us up before.
Mm-hmm.
So
the thing I think about is like, okay, I feel like the Washington game is about as must win as you can get.
The last 3 games have been must win.
Agreed, but I feel like this is the pinnacle of must win, specifically because if we lose to Washington, that puts them beating us twice all year.
And puts them 2 games up.
And they'd be 2 games up. And on top of that, we have to play New Orleans.
Yep.
If we lose to Washington, and then we will lose to New Orleans, there's no way we beat them.
Yeah.
Then you're basically done. You are toast. So you have to beat Washington.
Yeah, this game's pretty crucial
to save face.
I think if it was an opponent other than New Orleans, outside of like the Chiefs
Right.
or the Rams or some other upper echelon team, then this game looks a little different. You might have some room for error, but I think with the fact that you do play, one of the three best teams in the league, it looks like right now, the week after, and the fact that we didn't beat Washington the first time we played them is it puts us in a tough position.
Yes.
Puts us in a very tough position. So we'll
I
see.
guess my question for you is: are the Cowboys the favorite to win the division
Right
at
now,
this point?
right now, yes, because Philly has been a complete dumpster fire this year. I mean, that loss against New Orleans is just demoralizing. Now, could I see them rallying or something, being like, "Oh yeah," because yes, just strictly because that would be my luck.
Sure.
But then the division leader, they go out, they have so many injuries. Their quarterback completely shatters his leg, and now they have to pin their hopes on
And
Colt
their
McCoy
offensive line is
and
horrible.
or Mark Sanchez. So, are we division favorites? Yes, I would say that right now we have all the momentum, uh, and there's no reason that we can't go out and take this division. We just have to put it together, and we need to make sure that we don't start playing chicken shit football like we do sometimes. Sometimes, I mean, all the times.
Yeah.
So we better get into this Washington game, though.
Yeah.
For real.
Let's do it.
Oh, offensive MVPs and LVPs. I'm saying Tyron Smith and Leighton Vander Esch.
Okay.
Tyron Smith just because he played.
He had a pretty good game, though.
Because we didn't have the repeat of last year's complete disaster.
Sure. It's hard for me to give it to anybody other than Ezekiel Elliott in this game. I will give an honorary one to Jeff Swain because I saw him making some pretty good blocks in this game. So good for him. Defense, it's got to be Leighton Vander Esch. There's nobody else that deserves it.
You have no idea how much this pains me, but yes.
Isn't that the third week that we've named Leighton Vander Esch MVP this season?
I mean, he's right now. I don't see how there's any argument against him being Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's second in the league in tackles.
Him and Derwin James and Darius Leonard probably.
Yeah.
He's easily top 5.
Oh, no doubt.
Probably top 3.
No doubt. Yeah. So our annual Thanksgiving game.
Yes.
It did not go well for us last year.
Oh, one of the worst losses in Cowboys history.
It was embarrassing.
It
was very embarrassing to watch. We've had it seems like our Thanksgiving games we either get blown out or we do the blowing out. And normally our games are pretty close. With the exception of I think a few years ago we were playing Miami again and we ended up winning on a field goal. I don't know. I could be misremembering.
We went toe to toe in 2016 with Washington in Thanksgiving when Cousins was throwing the ball all over the yard, but we ended up winning.
Right.
But
I just feel like there's been a disproportionate amount of blowouts on Thanksgiving, one way or the other.
It feels that way.
So Alex Smith, like we mentioned, Colt McCoy's blown us up before. And Gruden and his staff obviously know our staff very well, so he'll be ready to go. Short week. I think that probably works in our favor in terms of, having the backup quarterback in there. But he is an experienced quarterback, and he has handled us many times. And playing in Texas, he's gonna wanna show out.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Sooners are coming for the Longhorns, the Big 12 title game.
You better hope so.
Revenge game.
You better hope so.
Yeah. I don't know if it necessarily matters that Alex Smith is hurt, honestly, because I think Colt McCoy is going to be equally as effective at running Washington's offense the way it's constructed.
Alex Smith isn't that good of a quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's fine.
Right.
But I don't think he doesn't have the same separation between QB1 and QB2 that we do. No matter what any other Cowboys fans think, Mike White and Cooper Rush are about 50 miles back from where Dak Prescott is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And they have a lot of injuries outside of Alex Smith. Their line's hurt. They've had running backs hurt all year, but Adrian Peterson just grabbed us by our haunches and humped us into submission last time we played him.
Yes.
And then obviously
their wide receivers have been banged up. Their whole offense has been banged up.
Yeah. I think we're a different team than we were the last time we played them, though. I think we have a lot of momentum now.
Yes.
We're starting to kind of believe in ourselves. We didn't have Amari Cooper last time we played him. Gosh, I sound like sound like I'm making up excuses for Jason Garrett
Uh
to keep his job.
oh.
Anyway,
The defensive line is healthier this week. It sounds like we're going to be getting back Antoine Woods, Daniel Ross, and probably Taco.
Yep.
As well.
Yeah, I think Randy Gregory needs to start. Taco needs to.
Yep.
Be just. He should not start.
Yep. Does that hurt?
No.
As a Michigan fan.
No.
Okay.
No, that's fine. Late first round pick probably shouldn't have been a first round pick.
Yeah, probably.
Whatever.
He was going to be a second round pick. It was just someone was going to be a reach at the end of the first round. It just happened to be Taco.
Yep. Okay. Their defensive line just handled us last time.
They're really, really good though.
Yeah.
As much as we hate that because we hated Deron Payne. Hated him so much.
Yep.
Jonathan Allen. They got Ryan Kerrigan. I mean, their D line, like just their front seven is just really, really good.
And it was built to do exactly what it did last time, which was mess with our offensive line and make it irrelevant, basically. And it mission accomplished last time. So.
Oh yeah.
What else we want to do here? Stephen Jones, has talked about us needing to continue to be creative, or maybe start being creative, depending on how you want to look at it.
Sure.
He's absolutely right, by the way.
Yep. And I like that coming from Stephen Jones, because I feel like in the past, Cowboys teams have been like, oh yeah, we won a couple games, we're back in the division, like
we're
good
that last week,
yeah. But I like Stephen Jones coming out and saying like we need to continue to be creative. We need to find a way to get Amari Cooper the ball more,
but not force it to him.
Right,
Do not force Amari Cooper the ball, for God's sake.
Yes. Amari Cooper doesn't seem like the kind of guy that will get upset if he has 3 catches a game. It doesn't bother him.
No, he's pretty low key, I think.
Yeah,
pretty low key.
So I hope and I think that this short week is beneficial to us. We've got the momentum from the last 2 wins. Washington had a painful way to lose. They lost their starting quarterback.
No pun intended.
I feel like if Dallas has the opportunity to come out and just punch Washington right in the mouth and take over this division.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of will they.
Do it.
Yes.
Do it.
So, should we do some over-unders?
Yeah, since we actually did it this week.
I came up with some on the
fly.
fly.
Then you're gonna introduce them because I have no clue what they are.
Okay. Over or under 200 total yards for Ezekiel Elliott.
Under. Their D line's too good.
That's fair. I'll take the under because he's fat. That's why.
That's our recurring joke every Sunday. He would have scored on that one in his rookie year, but he's too fat now.
Exactly.
What's next?
All right. Over under 200 passing yards for Dak Prescott.
Over 230.
I will say under. I'm going to say 170. But 40 yards rushing the ball.
Wow.
I know. We're going to get some creative.
Got to keep the linemen honest.
That's right. Over under 2
takeaways
for the defense. We'll say 1.5. Sorry. I kind of forgot over under how to do it for a minute.
Yeah.
1.5 takeaways.
1.5 I'm going to take the over. I think they'll get 2. I think Colt McCoy, just him not having had a lot of game experience over the last couple years, I think that in the last couple weeks we have had a couple takeaways. So I'm going to say the trend continues.
Sure. I'm going to take the under because I feel like Colt McCoy, say what you will about Colt McCoy, but he is accurate as fuck. He was at Texas. Yeah, and
you're absolutely right.
Even he will throw a lot of high percentage, low risk throws. Even if Dallas could win this game easily, and Colt McCoy could go 23 for 30. But he might not get the chance to just take a shot to make a game changing play.
I'm not saying they're necessarily going to come from Colt McCoy. I just think somehow we'll get 2 turnovers.
Sure,
because that's the way it's been going for us lately.
I'm going to take the under. They got to show me.
Okay.
Over or under 75 rushing yards for Adrian Peterson.
He's been rolling lately. He had a little over 100 last time he played us.
He had 99.
Just short of 100. I'm sorry. I knew it was just barely on one side or the other. I am going to take. I'm going to take the under.
Okay.
LVE's going to do it.
He's going to handle it.
He's going to do the thing.
You can do the ting.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I might take the under as well on this one. I have faith in this defense, especially stopping the run. Getting those defensive linemen back too in this game is going to help from a rotation standpoint.
Yeah, I think they're going to feel a little bit better about themselves than the last time they did Washington. I just think the defense is playing with a lot of confidence right now, and I think that's going to display and manifest itself in the form of holding Peterson to less than 75 yards, I guess.
There you go. All right, now we got a couple of Thanksgiving themed over unders.
Ooh,
over under 2.5 times that the Thanksgiving Day comebacks / miracles are mentioned over under 2.5. The
Under.
Roger Staubach
Under.
comeback under.
They'll do it once or twice, but they won't do it 3 times.
They won't do it 3 times. Okay. I'm gonna take the over, especially if it's a close game. They could mention it with more frequency. The whole Jason Garrett coming in.
What about this? The number of times they talk about who's their Turkey Day MVP and that stupid award,
the Galloping Gobbler.
Well, it used to be the Galloping Gobbler. I don't think it is anymore because they'll show Emmitt Smith throwing his away and the turducken. They'll talk about all that. Over under 1.5 for those.
Probably over because
I'm going over too.
Yeah.
Hell, let's throw it at 3.5. I'm still taking the over all day. They always talk about those stupid awards through the whole damn game.
Yeah. And they show the players like having those pies in front of them that they don't want to eat. They're just like, okay. Over under the number of times that the Leon Lett gaff is mentioned. That was on Thanksgiving.
Mentioned
right?
or shown?
Let's say shown. That was on Thanksgiving,
yes,
right? Okay.
Yes.
I wanted to make sure I wasn't.
Dolphins.
Okay.
I believe in '93. And then he went on to make a Super Bowl boner where BB chased him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over just because that's a fun one to show, and I think they'll show it a couple times.
Yep.
Especially if it's close at the end.
Yep, I'm gonna take two at least. I mean, and over under the number of times that it is mentioned that the Lions and Cowboys always play on Thanksgiving Day.
Over or under 3.5.
Over under 3.5.
Going under.
I will take the over because I think there seems to be an outcry from the general public that we don't want to watch the Lions and Cowboys play on Thanksgiving anymore. Tough shit. That's the way it's been. That's the way it's going to continue.
Yeah, and every other team gets a Thursday game now. So, prediction.
Are we doing bold predictions or score predictions?
I said predictions.
Okay.
So let's do bold. Bold predictions. The hell with it.
Okay.
I don't really have one. Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right.
Michael Gallup is going to have a great game.
A great game, but Dak Prescott's only going to throw for 170 yards.
Yep.
So is he just going to catch every pass?
Michael Gallup's going to have 50 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, okay. I mean, the 2 touchdowns is great.
Yeah. That's a great game by Dallas offense standards. 50 yards, 2 touchdowns for Michael Gallup. Going to honor his brother.
I am going to say that the offense scores 4 touchdowns.
Ooh.
I don't think they've done that yet this year, but I'm going for it. It's a bold prediction.
Let's do it.
I'm sticking them out there and putting them on the wall.
Say it with your chest.
That's what's going off. That's just what's going to happen.
All right. I like it.
And Dak accounts for at least 3 of them.
Wow. Okay. I thought you were going to be like talking about Cheeto for a minute. You were really
No. That's later in the
waving
season.
the
That's
flag
later
for
in the
Cheeto.
season.
Okay.
Later in the season.
Okay. Not yet though.
Yep. Later in the season when we really need it.
Got it. Like
maybe. Hear me out. It's late in the game against New Orleans.
Oh God.
It's a close game for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe Drew Brees had diarrhea before the game and he's all dehydrated and can't really play. I don't know. He had some bad Taco Bell or Popeyes or whatever. And the game's close. New Orleans has the ball to try and go down and retake the lead late in the 4th. Cheeto gets his pick. Or it might come a little
game
later.
Over?
Game over.
Wow.
Cheeto wins it.
If Cheeto makes the game-winning interception against New Orleans, I will stick my balls in the snow.
Jesus.
I will just straight up go full on right into the snow.
How about you just give me $10 instead?
No, I'd rather do that.
Oh, okay.
I'd rather stick my balls in the snow than give you $10.
God.
So,
okay. Score prediction.
Yep. Score prediction. I'm going to say Dallas takes advantage of the momentum in the short week. They end up winning 27-17.
27.
In a game that I never really feel
31-24.
like. Okay.
I said I don't like talking about our offense scoring 30 points because we don't do it.
Have we? We haven't done it yet.
Damn it, we're going to do it this week. Probably not. But we're going to do it this week because I said we were going to score 4 touchdowns, and I just feel like it's just right that Brett Maher has to make at least 1 field goal.
He'll probably miss 2, but he'll make 1.
You know what? That just means that we had at least 7 successful drives where we didn't have to punt the ball. So, hey.
Wow. That would be quite the...
That would be a hell of a feat. That would be a bold prediction in and of itself.
True story.
Okay.
1 Cowboys card of the week.
1 Cowboys
I don't have my phone, so you're
card
gonna...
of the week. You do have your phone.
Wait a second.
Literally right there. It just started ringing. Oh, look at that. What is it? We do 1 take. You can't silence your phone?
Dude, I'm on call.
Oh, man. Now I'm just hanging out on
Hi, this is
YouTube
Matt.
by myself. Matt's on call.
Good, how are you?
So, here's the cards, anyway. Randy White, Terrence Newman, Joey Galloway, Drew Bledsoe, Julius Jones, Terrence Newman again. Get rid of that one. Jim Jeffcoat, Ryan Leaf, Antonio Bryant, Emmett Smith, Drew Henson, Jason Witten, Fasano, Steve Walsh. Yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna end YouTube live. We're just gonna call it here. Thanks for hanging out, YouTube. It's just me by myself now. Good times. Go Cowboys. Hopefully Michael Gallup has a big game. And go Blue. Go Michigan. Beat Ohio State. It's my birthday on Saturday, so please especially beat Ohio State. That's all I want in my entire life.
What's a good callback number?
So, go Cowboys. Go Blue.